All right. It is a Reddit. Am I the a hole? Am I the a hole for not giving my girlfriend money for nothing? Okay. The whole story has been a drawn out event and it needs some context. So, I, 31 male, have been working in the business sector for a little over 7 years. It's been paying very well as my field, MIS logistics. I'm assuming management information systems, but I could be incorrect. Has been growing steadily for a while now. I've been very particular about my finances ever since I was a teenager. I always made sure to save and invest intelligently. A little over a year ago, I met my girlfriend. We'll call her Sarah. Now, Sarah, 29, female, is an incredible person. She's been supportive and kind and loving throughout our entire relationship, and I've tried my hardest to return that same energy. But she had a really large issue come up in her field last month. She works in physical therapy, and her company laid her off last month. She has been smart with her money. Sorry, she hasn't been smart with her money at all. I tried to tell her to invest, but she still only put away about 10% of her income. And she made a big investment in herself last year moving into the city, so her financial situation isn't great. She only has a couple thousand saved up, and she had to move out of her apartment when she got laid off due to its ridiculous rent at $1,500 a month. She asked me if she could move in for a bit to get back on her feet, and I begrudgingly obliged. My apartment isn't massive, and it's way more expensive getting food for two every night. Now it's been over 2 weeks, and she still doesn't have a job. She's had a couple interviews, but they've fallen through. I asked her about when she thinks she'll get another job, and she says it'll probably take a bit. I feel like she's taking advantage of me. To top it all off, she asked yesterday if she can borrow $100, 100 bucks to pay off her credit card bills from earlier in the month. I told her that I'm done giving her money for free and that she needs to get a job soon because it's costing me so much keeping her in and feeding her. She started crying and said that she couldn't believe how I was acting after how long we've been together. My friends think I'm being too harsh on her. Am I the a-hole? Edit, I know 100 bucks isn't that much, but it's the principle of asking me to pay off her own payments that irks me. She made those purchases. She should be responsible for them. Me and her talked again, and she couldn't believe how I treated her. I tried again to explain myself, but she just stormed off and said, "We're done." I don't get how she could do this to me after everything we've gone through. Okay. From my understanding, basically everyone said he's the he's the a hole. Let's see some of these comments. Let's at least read them. If you've been in your field for 7 years, I've been very particular about my finances. So I was a teenager. How on earth is paying for her meals in 2 weeks somehow breaking you? Either you're not as clever with money as you think you are, or you are rigid about money. And if your bank account dips a couple hundred bucks, you're hyperventilating. All of this, so much wrong here. And he's asking her when she expects she'll get a job. Like, she can answer that, but I can tell him one thing: it'll probably take longer than a couple of weeks. I wonder if he loves Sarah at all the way he begrudges paying for her food. We're not talking about luxuries here. He seems very selfish. You're the a hole. Yeah. No, I mean, he's not an a hole. I mean, technically speaking, I mean, this is not his wife. So I don't know what level of expectation people have when you're not married. Quite frankly, and these are not very that younger people. I mean, she's nearly 30. He is 30. Um, and they've been together just a little over a year. And quite frankly, if you moved in with somebody, especially your significant other, you can have an expectation of them, yeah, taking care of you to some degree for a little bit. I think 2 weeks is not that long, and realistically, it should. Yeah, it's going to take longer than 2 weeks to replace the previous job. She's probably not just going to take any old job. She's probably going for something that she really wants. Another element here, which is kind of lost, I think, because let me review. I think most of the people that comment on these things just have not had real life experience. She said she was laid off from her company, so she has to be getting unemployment. So I don't understand. Maybe it's taking some time before the first unemployment check hits the bank. I mean, as we saw during the lockdowns, it can take some time, but that was a massive amount of an influx of people being unemployed around roughly the same time. I mean, things have actually, unemployment is at the lowest it's been for a long time. So shouldn't be a big issue to process an unemployment claim. So hopefully she's done that and she is doing that. Um, but I you know, I think he's, how he's framing it is a little bit over the top. I mean, $100, I get it, but it seems like I told her that I'm done giving her money for free. He's insinuating he's already been giving money on top of living expenses. So yeah, after a certain and I don't know how she's been about that. If she's not been grateful thus far, after a while, it's human nature to feel like you're being taken advantage of, no matter what the circumstances are. That's just a natural feeling. No one just wants to continuously give away money, especially if he knows her for a little over a year. When he speaks about her spending habits, he's probably noticed something that he doesn't like. So I mean, how I'm looking at it is I don't know how she walked away from you. If you already seen so many red flags that you don't like financially, and that's a real important thing, is you and your partner have to be on the same page when it comes to spending habits and just long-term values. Because if you're going to grow together, you definitely want to be on the same page when it comes to building the future. And yeah, not going below, like the one comment said, a certain threshold. That is important. That is very important. That's called being stable. Having a cushion, having emergency savings, especially if you want to have a family. You don't want to be paycheck to paycheck. You don't want to live above your means. And if the other person for some reason can go off task like that, um and not really have a plan, then yeah, it seems like they might hinder, any joint plans that you may have had going forward. So, frankly, this might be better for him in the long run. He's just not seeing it right now. A weird thing of how can she do this to me after everything we've gone through. I mean, and also, I mean, I don't, doesn't seem like he has much of a sharing mindset. He needs to be with somebody that's just, when it comes to money, he's on the same page with that person. I don't think they are. So long term, this is probably good for the both of them. That's my take.